Have you ever wanted to look and feel like a goddess, but it feels like you have to play dress up in order to do so? Well, that's basically my everyday dilemma. As much as I wish that we could be wearing gowns and crowns and capes and armor in our everyday, unfortunately, that's not the society we live in. So today what I want to do is really mindfully channel that mythic and goddess energy and create a look that's going to feel very wearable, which is something I love to do. Hopefully we're going to create something by the end of this that feels like you could wear to dinner, out to the grocery store, maybe to the office, just really something that feels very modern, yet still has that mythic energy to it. And specifically, I'm going to be channeling the goddess Aphrodite, Greek goddess of love and beauty, also known by her Roman counterpart Venus. I'm going to do my hair, I'm going to do my makeup, I'm going to choose an outfit, accessories, all of that. And I'm also going to be shopping my closet, which is what I really encourage people to do when they do this kind of exploration as much as possible. Just use what you have. And I'll also get into some details about Aphrodite as we go throughout this video so you can learn a little bit more. And if you're new here, hello, I'm Evangeline, and here on this channel, I love exploring the mythic and dark feminine, especially through style and makeup. Everyone is welcome. I also have a new Patreon link down below where I go a little bit deeper on these themes, and you can join the Patreon coven to help support the channel further and get some bonus content. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, just a quick intro to Aphrodite and what I have planned for this look. Aphrodite is the goddess of love and beauty, as I said, but also fertility, procreation, lust in general. When you think of Aphrodite, it's just very a sensual feeling and very of the body, kind of very an antithesis to like the way Christianity and the Bible shaped out women's bodies and women's figures. So leaning into Aphrodite to me feels really much like a reclamation, just really embracing the senses and beauty. And I love that. Of course, that's what my channel is all about. So first off, when you think of those things, of course, you're going to think of like pinks and reds. The skirt I have planned is one of my favorite skirts I wear a lot. And it's got like this flower details to it. So I'm thinking of a lot of colors from here. There's also the birth story of Aphrodite and or Venus. She has a couple iterations, but the most famous one is the one of her born from sea foam. There's a little bit more to it. I'll read you a little quote here. Some traditions stated that she had sprung from the foam of the sea, which had gathered around the mutilated parts of Uranus that had been thrown into the sea by Cronus after he had unmanned his father. So basically, she's born from the sea foam of Uranus's manlyhood that was thrown into the sea. Kind of a strange origin story, but nonetheless, there it is. And there's the very famous birth of Venus with the seashell. I even have a couple makeup products that are seashell oriented, so I'm going to try and integrate that into there. So thinking of that, I'm thinking of the sea, I'm thinking beachy, I'm thinking bronzy. So it's going to be kind of balancing that very summery, oceanic feel with also romantic colors and pinks and reds. Hopefully I can make the eyes look a little bit like an iridescent seashell. That's definitely the plan. I'm really going to prime the skin today, starting with the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. I've really been liking this one as a dupe for the Milk Hydro Grip. Just really hydrates the skin, gets it tacky for all kinds of makeup. I use it on my eyes as well. Now I'm going to go in with the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin. This has a little bit of a bronzy glow to it and very hydrating without being like super emollient and thick. I'm focusing that on the outer edges of the face. A little bit here. I also feel like when you're channeling these kind of goddesses in your makeup or your style, like it does also ritualize the process. And as you go about each step, you can kind of feel like it is a ritual and just like engage with the senses and feel, you know, the products. It can be really satisfying to engage with your makeup that way and just feel very present as you go about the process. I'm going to go in with the Charlotte Tilbury color corrector under my eyes. I really like to wedge it in to this part of the eye here. I have a lot of discoloration right there. So even more so than the under eye, it's about that inner corner. And then also that edge of the eye there. Already you can see how that like lifts up the eye area so much. Before I even go in with foundation, I'm going to go in with some concealer on the eye. This is the NARS Soft Matte. It's my favorite way to prep eyelids for any kind of product, whether it's eyeshadow or just a little bit of bronzer, but I always prefer to get rid of the discoloration on the eyes. And sometimes I'll take what's left on the brush and start to get a little bit more coverage where I know I like it, and sometimes maybe it's hard to get foundation more precisely, like right above the brow. This kind of red thing I have here. And getting that redness right around the nose. I feel like everybody has a little bit of that right there. Mixing two foundation shades today. I have Lisa Eldridge, the shade 3 and 2.5. This is my olive foundation. That's great for my pale winter skin. This one has a bit of a warmer overtone, which is great when I get a little bit of a tan. Don't have a tan yet, really. We're in May, but I want to have a little bit of that golden feeling, so that's why I'm going to mix the two. And really, I'm just going in for, say, medium to full coverage. I really want a nice base for everything to cling to, the blush, the bronzer, everything. So Aphrodite was a pretty prominent goddess in Greek mythology. I feel like everybody's heard of her. And as much as she is associated with love, beauty, fertility, all those kind of romantic things, there are some different cults that formed around Aphrodite in different regions. And in Sparta, there was one that honored Aphrodite as more of a war goddess, or at least she also was associated with war, along with being a goddess of love and procreation. So while most of the time she sort of has these softer, more traditionally feminine elements associated with her, I do love that there are multifaceted explorations of her in history. And I feel like that crops up for a lot of like female deities. And while the Iliad does not depict Aphrodite as such, in fact, she gets basically chastised by Zeus for trying to engage in war, there are still histories involving her having this other side of herself. So you can definitely channel that dark Aphrodite side as well. I did a short on that, and the coloring was a little bit more darker and muted. All right, time to bronze it up. I'm going to be using the Rare Beauty bronzer stick in Bright Side. For anybody who was here back when I did those Kitchener Style Essence videos, this one, I'm going to try and go as bronze as I did in the Natural Essence video. So much more than I normally do. I'm not big on a ton of bronzer, but I'm going to push myself to use a lot. I really want to look like a bronzy, beachy goddess. So really just shaping out all parts of the face into the eyelid. Just not being afraid of that pigment because it's all going to blend out in the end. You know, it looks really kind of strange at first, but I find once you do the blush, once you do the lips and everything, it comes together. I feel like the key is just really making sure you're taking the time to blend it. Make sure there's no harsh lines. Go a little bit on the nose. Bringing it down the neck a little bit too. So I just did my brows off camera. Now I'm going to move on to blush. As I said, I want to balance that beachy feeling with like romantic pinks and reds. So I'm going to see how this blush from Merit Postmodern might blend. It's pretty deep and a little pigmented, but I'm kind of curious if I can get a little bit of that pink depth happening and see how that might blend with the bronze tones. Might be kind of strange, or it'll be really pretty. I don't know. I'm just starting here and like blending up into the bronzer, and as per usual with my more mythic and goddess looks, bringing the blush down. Now, as we know now, Aphrodite very much associated with tales of love, but more than that, she was quite a promiscuous lady, and she definitely slept around a lot, although it seems like a lot of Greek gods and goddesses did so. While she was married to the Greek god Hephaestus, who's the god of like blacksmiths and fires, she's very much known for her involvement with the god Ares, god of war. So again, there's a sort of duality expressed there, thinking of her and her relationship to that god. She's also the mother of Eros, who's the Greek version of Cupid. And then there was a celebration in midsummer of her, and the festival was called Aphrodisia. And if that sort of term sounds familiar, it just like rang a bell to me that it's like the term aphrodisiac, which is something that makes you, feel feelings of like lust and sensuality. And so obviously aphrodisiac comes from Aphrodite. All right, I like this. I think that's really pretty. At this point, I do want to set things down with powder and like really just meld everything. It's a little bit dewy for my liking. First off, I am going to set the blush with another blush color. You don't necessarily have to do this, but I want to use this shell, keep it on theme. It's a very classic pink. It's just going to be a nice way to set everything down and then use this very Aphrodite-esque product. So she has other symbols along with seashells. Doves are very much associated with her. Roses, apples. I'll get into that story in a moment. Going into powder all over the face, the Huda powder. I've really been loving this one. Oh, mirrors. Mirrors are associated with her. All these symbols that are very like represent that sensual and aesthetic nature. In fact, this looks very kind of Aphrodite-esque, this mirror. There's like little angels on there. I'm going to move on to the eyes. I envision the eyes being sort of like a light white with a little bit of shimmer, kind of like a seashell. So I'm going to start with my favorite like brightening light gray shade, very much a dove gray. Hello, doves are very much Aphrodite symbol. And I love this one for any kind of base for like lighter shimmers. It's very kind of natural, but also brightening and adds a little bit of gray pigment. It's a little bit in contrast to the bronzy nature of everything, but I'm kind of hoping that contrast creates an interesting look. I have a few shimmers in front of me. I'm thinking this light pink from this Chokehold Cosmetics palette. It's just so soft. I feel like it might be perfect for that little bit of nod to like the pink, very romantic feeling, but a little bit iridescent, like a seashell, kind of like my nails. Just like layering it on top of a lot of the eyelid. And yeah, that's perfect. It's just such a great, like really, really soft pink. Just enough to slightly tint this to make it a little bit more harmonious with the rest of the look. Now a touch more of a more impactful shimmer from the Cosmic Beauty Neutrals palette is this one here. Very fun, white iridescent. I used this in a look recently. It's got that orange. I think it's got green, some reflex, and I find it mimics that reflect like a shell will have. And I'm gonna just put that a little bit more focused than the first shimmer. So a little bit more on the outer edge and on the lid rather than into the inner corner. Wow, I love that one. Ugh, can't go wrong. Actually, the more I apply this, the more I love it and I want more. I'm gonna put this on the lower part of the eye as well. Just a little bit, this more in the center. I think I'm gonna leave the eyes there with the exception of mascara because when I think of this beachy feel, I just don't feel like going too smoky or with too much liner is really gonna suit it. I like this really open iridescent feel. The lashes will hopefully be enough just to really open up the eye and add the contrast. So I'm gonna do that off camera and then finish off with the lips. Let's do some hair, and I got an outfit idea to bring this all together. So I will be one moment. I'm torn between a couple lip ideas. I was at first envisioning this being a little darker of like a red, but now I kind of want to try a lighter pink that feels really kind of Valentine's-esque almost, but I'll darken it a little bit with a lip liner. I'll try that one first, see if I like it. I'm gonna go in with Versatile Chestnut from Makeup Forever, just one of my favorite liners. It kind of is a perfect balance between something bronzy and something pinky. And then I shall see how it pairs with this lipstick from Flower Nose. Cupid, I think it's called. Again, like I feel like a lot of these objects are very Aphrodite too. The mirror, the seashell. That's kind of pretty, isn't it? I kind of like this. A little bit more brighter than I normally do a look. Pretty. New lip combo unlocked. And then I think a little bit of gloss will suit this. I'm going to use this one from TYS Beauty. I'm not sure the shade, but all the products will be linked down below. I'll also link as much as of the clothes as I can, although some of them are really old. But everything I use, I'll link down below if you do want to check it out. Oh, pretty, pretty. I love it. Now, on to the hair. Thank goddess. I have really straight hair naturally. This is my hair naturally, and I just cannot wait to get some waves in it. I'm gonna get my favorite wave wand, show you guys how I do it, and yeah, really get this look finalized and put together. So for my hair today, I'm gonna just really focus on waves. In general, I tend to like integrate curls and waves, but with that beachy feel, I think just purely like a beach wave is gonna suit this. I kind of recently got this wave wand from Got To Be because I put waves in my hair almost every day. And this one I love because it's a deep waver. You can see quite how like, you know, indented it goes in. I'm gonna use it so that the waves go inward. So they're gonna end that way. And I'm gonna really get it at the root of the hair and try and integrate my bangs into it. They're growing out, so it's kind of awkward. I'm gonna start here. And then when you see it facing forward, you can like see where the wave ends. Like you can see it. Does that make sense? It's gonna look really odd at first, okay? So what I'll do is like I'll wave a section and then like put it onto the other side when I'm doing this kind of style. So I can really get at the root of everything right there to get all that volume. While I do a couple of these waves, I'll share with you one more Aphrodite fact, in that she played a major role in the Trojan War. And then there was this Trojan prince called Paris. And there was this, they call it the Judgment of Paris, where he had an apple. Remember I said that one of Aphrodite's symbols is an apple? It was a golden apple, actually. And that between Aphrodite and other goddesses, it was like he was going to choose who was the fairest of them all, essentially. And Aphrodite promised Paris Helen of Sparta in exchange for him making her the fairest of them all and giving her the golden apple. So a little bit vain there, Aphrodite. And then when he ended up, in some texts they say, abducting Helen, and she became known as Helen of Troy, it started the war. All because Aphrodite promised Troy Helen so that she could be the fairest of them all. A little bit of what is it, Snow White Wicked Witch energy? Okay, so this is how it starts. You can see these waves really taking shape. Please ignore this right now. I'm gonna do the rest of them off camera, brush them out so that they're really like, look a little bit more seamless, and show you the outfit and how we're gonna finish off this look. And this is the finished hair and makeup. I've also added some accessories to the look. So I ended up going with this. It feels very delicate, feminine, and it matches the skirt. I'll show you the full outfit in a moment. And any kind of jewelry that kind of has that handcrafted feel feels very goddess-like. So this little ear cuff, this ring here, both from Lisa Bowie. This is something I inherited from my grandmother, and I feel like they add that goddess-like feel. I was debating a couple other earrings. I have these ones I love, and they have a very seashell-esque feel. I think that would look great. The only reason I'm not wearing them is I find they compete with the belt detail I'm going to show you in a moment. Or something simpler like this could also work, like the little pearlescent details, kind of a nice in-between. Actually, I like this just as much as this, actually. Gone for the off-shoulder look, and here is the full outfit. I have that skirt I love, I wear all the time, and it really does make me feel a little bit goddess-like, but it's so easy to wear. And I find anything off-shoulder, especially with these little ruchy slight details, just feels like that touch of something goddess-like. It has that wrapped feeling almost that like the robes would have. And then the little detail of the belt, I think just once again, just feels very, with it being celestial and golden, Just kind of suits all the gold accessories and gives, again, a little nod to that goddess-like mythic energy. But it still feels very modern, and I feel really comfortable in this. Very summery feel with the hair and everything, just feeling very bronzy, and I'm loving this look. I'm really loving this. Lastly, we're gonna end it with a fragrance. I'm gonna use Love Don't Be Shy by Kilian. I have just one of the mini bottles because alas, very, very fancy. Very, very sweet. Marshmallow is one of the leading scents in this one, but I love it. Beautiful, beautiful color here. Very, very feminine, only for those who like a really sweet gourmand, but it's something I like to bust out, especially if I'm going out on a date night or something. Because, yes, Aphrodite, all about love, and not just love in the sort of sexual and romantic way, but also platonic love, love for yourself, just very sensory. I love to think of her that way. And I really, really enjoyed this transformation. Honestly, I do feel a little bit like a modern goddess. I feel like I've got all the details to make it feel like it's something very evocative, but also very wearable. I really feel like I succeeded in my goal today. So I really hope you liked this exploration. If you have any more goddess requests, definitely let me know. I have a few I'm really interested in exploring. Athena, Circe, Medusa. We can go, in the more dark side of goddesses, or more, love goddesses like Freya from Norse mythology. There's so many I could explore, and I really love this. It felt really transformative, and I really feel like myself when I do these kinds of looks. And that's really kind of the point. You really want to feel like a really elevated, energetic version of yourself, and I feel like I succeeded in that today. So that's it for this video. Thank you everybody for sticking it out till the end. And Toasty, let's take it away. Here's my little goddess boy. He is Eros because he's my son, little Cupid boy. Thank you so much for everybody who watched till the end. We really appreciate it. It really helps support the channel. And of course, if you like, comment, and subscribe, that also means a lot. And check out my Patreon for bonus content, linked down below. And until next time, may you all find yourselves a little bit of makeup magic, and we will see you in the next video. Bye, witches.